my next interview, I'll be talking to my good friend Eric Schafer, a senior accounting major here at Bonaventure. Eric, thanks for coming on and talking with me.
Thanks for having me.
So, Eric, I was hoping you could tell me a story about the last time you saw a problem within the media industry.
Yeah, so this actually happened the other day. Kirk Cousins, the quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings, went on an NFL Network show doing an interview about COVID-19. And one of the things he said was, I don't really agree with the idea of wearing a mask. If I get COVID, I get it. And if I die, I die. And then right after that, he said, at the end of the day, I still wear a mask out of respect for other people. I'm paraphrasing, but that's the gist of what he said. And these big Twitter accounts on Twitter, like SportsCenter and Bleacher Report and all those big accounts that have thousands and thousands of followers, they would put up a graphic saying, if I die, I die, which is one sentence taken out of context of the whole interview. And I think they did that in order to get clicks, and that it pushes a narrative that I don't think is really true. Like in the comments of the tweets, people were like, oh, it's so irresponsible of him to say something like that. But in my opinion, I think it's irresponsible of the measly tweet. You know, at the end of the day, I still wear a mask out of respect for other people, and it changes the whole narrative of the story. You know, it makes Kirk Cousins look in a completely different light, and I think that's unfair of them to do that.
Absolutely. That makes a lot of sense. So, what would you personally say that was the most difficult part about that whole situation?
I like it doesn't personally affect me. Obviously, I'm not Kirk Cousins, but I'd say it pushes a narrative that might not really be true in a time where there's, you know, you see the president talking about fake news and everything. And that's kind of what he's talking about is media taking things out of context to push a certain narrative that may or may not be totally true.
That makes sense. So, why do you think that situation is so difficult in the time that we're in right now?
Well, especially in a social media driven age, these accounts need to get clicks to get ad revenue, and the biggest way to do that is by having a controversial headline. You know, if nobody cares if Kirk Cousins wears a mask out of respect for other people, but if they put out the graphic that says, oh, if I die, I die, then they're more likely to get engagement on their page and views on their articles. So that's where I think it comes from.
For sure. So, in your ideas, like, what would you think would be the best way about solving the problem now, and like some of the current solutions not being as ideal as they could be?
I really don't know if there are any solutions, because I get why they do it, because like I said, at the end of the day, they got to make money, and that's how you make money. So I don't know what a solution would be per se, but I mean, I think it just comes down to responsible journalism, I guess, would be the best solution. But I don't know how you implement that without sacrificing getting clicks and engagement.
That's a great way to put it. And I really appreciate all your answers, and thanks very much for recording this with me.
Yeah, thanks for having me.